What is up, sister friends? Another week, another beautiful episode here at Heart to Heart with Coach Emily. And I'm so excited to be here today talking to y'all, doing another podcast episode. I will say I love recording these podcasts. I don't know what it is. You know, when you kind of say it, you're like, am I a maniac? Because it's like just me talking to me, but we do have some guest speakers lined up that I am so excited for. Didn't get any feedback from you guys yet on if you like the microphone or not, so we're going to keep it rolling. I bought it, so why the hell not? I am currently still recovering from COVID. So I've got COVID a third time's a charm. So I was really, really sick last week. 101, 102 fever, lost my voice, couldn't stand up. I'm a sickly girl. This isn't what today's episode is about, but it's just so interesting how the body and the nervous system are connected. And I just love it so, so much. So I am a projector. I'm a 5-1 projector. And I am the only things that are defined in my human design is my anja and my mind. And if you know anything about human design, that means that all my other centers are completely undefined, wide open as crap. As also a 5-1 projector, I'm a double projector. So it's just like a lot of absorbing of others' energies and having to filter through that and navigate through that. That being said, how does this apply to being sick? So with that being said, I grew up in a very stressful household, home life, and I was sick all the time. So remember my parents were like, what the hell is wrong with this child? Why is she always getting sick? I don't have any like chronic diseases or anything like that. It's just like energetically, I am super susceptible to others and stress. And took till almost 31 years old to figure that out. So like literally I can't be around a lot of people back to back. If I'm highly stressed out, I'm going to get sick. It is a guarantee. I have had the flu probably over 15 times or at least 15 times. I used to get the flu every year of my life. I've had strep throat too many times. I've had pneumonia 3 times, mono twice, COVID 3 times. I just always get sick, always. So it's just very interesting that I got sick. Well, it's not interesting. I knew I should have known it was coming. I had back-to-back concerts that I went to. It's around a lot of people. That's a lot of energy to be around. And I can't handle it energetically. It crashes my immune system and I always get sick. So we're on the up and up. I will not be doing any social events this week. I need to continue to rehabilitate myself. So that will be a lot of alone time, things with Austin, low key, things so that I don't get sick again. Because this coming up, I have a lot going on. My birthday is in 30 days. I will be 31. And then my bachelorette, and then I'm going on a retreat. Then I have NLCA Live in Austin, Texas, and then it is my wedding. So we got a lot going on, so I cannot be getting sick again. So I really have to be protecting my energy. This is why energy work is so important, and I encourage you guys to, I want to become a human design, I want to get certified in human design and just like dive into it. It is so fun to learn about, and I love it. It's so much cooler than like Enneagram, in my opinion. It's not the same as astrology. Astrology is like an actual science, guys. Like human design, there's science to it, but astrology is like not just like, oh, I'm a Virgo sun. Like there's so much that goes into astrology that I don't have the time to like, you got to dedicate your life to that shit. So anyways, that being said, highly encourage learning your energetic profile, learning how you work energetically. And you could just do that without even a human design reading, just like learning your own energy and deconditioning yourself from your old energy, which I could really make a whole episode about this. But just like my old self, my deconditioned self, she's still working on it. She's still working on it. Okay. But very high performance, only believe that love could be received through performing. Lots of masks, like I will be whatever you need to be, all things, all people. Stress, I'm a recovering stress addict. I will say, like, I love stress, and I will say that a lot. And there's good and bad stress. Well, anyways, I'm not going to get into that, but when you are addicted to stress, it's because you do get like a hit of like happiness from the stress, because it's like, it's psychologically crazy. But people who are always in stress, like, it's almost like they can't help themselves. And that was me. I mean, I would seek out ways to add more stress to my life, getting another job, going back to school, bikini competitions, anything to add pressure on my life. Because if I didn't have the pressure, that gap without pressure would cause me like anxiety, would cause me like turmoil. So as a recovering stress addict, I have learned through my own like deconditioning that I need a lot of downtime, a lot. And I need quiet, and I need like deep, like I can't do surface level stuff. It's draining to me. And it's like, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm the super deep person, but like as a projector, I am. So like this is why like I could never, like dating was really hard for me, because I was like, this is so dumb. This is so draining. So anyways, that went down a hole. I went down a rabbit hole. Let me sip my Starbucks I got real quick. So I wanted to today, because I did a poll yesterday about what you guys wanted to hear more on the podcast. And I said boundaries, overwhelm, my personal story, and how to learn more about your energy. I'm obviously going to talk about all of those because I think they're all super important. But everybody, I got the most votes on personal story, which I take as a compliment. It's kind of crazy that you guys voted that. I appreciate it. It's pretty cool that you want to learn more about me. So I figured, as a health and fitness coach, and most of you are fitness coaches, we should share how I got into the fitness world, my personal story. We're going to take it way back. So I was not athletic. I wanted to be, but I was not athletic. Okay. I started working out only because, like a lot of us, I wanted to be as skinny as possible. Okay. In high school, I weighed like 108, 110 pounds. And to me, that was fat, like fat. So I would work out in my basement, do like videos, a million crunches. I would run around my court where we lived. And then when I got to high school, I was like, I'm going to play sports. And that's another podcast episode I will save those stories for, because it is quite comical, but there's a deeper meaning there. So I tried out for sports, didn't work out. So I like would run, I would work out, but I had no like athleticism, no athletic background whatsoever. I was like what you would call skinny fat, really, because I couldn't run a mile, couldn't do push-ups, couldn't touch my toe, couldn't do jack, but I was skinny. In my mind, I didn't think I was skinny, but I was skinny fat. So fast forward, when I moved to North Carolina, like I told you guys about, I'm sorry, prior to that. So I was a nanny, and I lived in these people's home for a year, and I took care of their children. And this was a Jewish Orthodox family that I lived with, and I took care of their kids full time. And during that time, they paid for me to have a gym membership as a nanny. So this was my first time ever having a gym membership. And I was stoked. I was your typical cardio bunny. And then I hired my first personal trainer. Her name was Robin. She was so badass. She like did competitive speed skating or something like that. Her quads, unreal. Her booty, unreal. She was badass. And so that was my first like taste of lifting and working out. And I still probably only weighed like 112 pounds. I was so skinny. I would run on the treadmill for like 45 minutes, like 4 or 5 times a week. And just really, really focus on being thin. This was also when, so me and my ex-husband, we were engaged, we broke up. And so this was like during that time. So, I was probably, definitely wasn't in a great mental headspace. So anywho, when I moved to North Carolina, fitness had become a part of my life. Like I really loved working out. I really, cared about it because I wanted to be thin. And so I joined a kickboxing gym, and I also was looking to like make friends, do something. I had started making money, working at Sonic. I don't know how I paid for that gym membership. Must have been nothing. And started kickboxing. And I loved kickboxing. I still love kickboxing. As of recently, I've actually been thinking about going back to kickboxing. It is just something that like, there's nothing like it. It is so fun and it is such a great workout. But it was cardio, right? And I loved freaking cardio. So I did kickboxing. And I will never forget, while I was working at this kickboxing gym, we actually did our first like fitness challenge, and I had never done a fitness challenge before. And me being performance-based human, I'm going to be the best. If I'm going to do something, I'm being number one. You better call me out of line and say, Emily did a kick-ass job. I needed that, right? So this fitness challenge was like to lose weight. I didn't have any weight to lose, but in my mind, I did have weight to lose. And it's actually, if my friend Shauna, I will never forget this. We always joke about it even to this day. We were like at the pool. We lived on military housing, and we're like sitting by the pool. And I like pull out my little snack bag, and it's 6 dried apricots, 6 to be precise. And she's like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, this is my snack. She's like, that's your snack? And I'm like, yeah, this is all I'm having. And then my dinner would be like chicken and spinach and rice and stuff. So lame. And so I was starving. But we did the challenge. I crushed it. I did an amazing job, blah, 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 blah. I ended up managing that gym, the kickboxing gym, and I loved it, loved it, loved it. And then we moved back to Maryland. That's another story. I didn't want to move to Maryland, back to Maryland, but we moved back to Maryland. I worked at the kickboxing gym, but working at the kickboxing gym encouraged me to become a personal trainer. I fell in love so much with training and coaching people at the kickboxing gym. I was like, I want to take this to the next level. I'm going to become a personal trainer. So when you're a military wife, you get like a stipend for programming or for programs to like go to college and stuff. So I used that to get my personal training certificate. And so I got my personal training certification, and then I went and moved to Maryland. And with NASM, the package I got, you got an internship. And so that's how I landed at my home. I call it my home gym, Future of Fitness. I worked at Future of Fitness for like I want to say 6 years, 6 to 7 years. And that was my first time ever working at a gym and like training people as a personal trainer, because at the kickboxing studio, you were taught the moves and you just taught like a boot camp class. This was like my first time one-on-one. And this gym was pivotal in me becoming the woman I am today. Because this gym became my home. Like I basically slept there. I worked there every day, 5 a.m. to close. And I made it my whole life. That's where I learned how to lift. It's where I learned so much. So I was the youngest at that gym. I was 22, I want to say. And everybody who was way older than me, like in their 40s, 50s, way older than me. And all of my clients were older than me. And it was a huge opportunity for me to grow. So this version of Emily, she was really learning how to be confident and who know who she was and use her voice. I was a very shy child in high school. Most people don't believe this about me, but I was incredibly shy and riddled with social anxiety. I like didn't want people to talk to me. I wasn't as much as I like did well in school and cared about school, I was not meant for school because it was too much. And so I was a very closed off person in the sense of like terrified to show my true personality because I was terrified people wouldn't like me. And this was the first time I'm surrounded by all these older people, and they're encouraging me, they're mentoring me. I'll never forget my first boot camp class at this gym, because I was comfortable at my old kickboxing gym, and then moving to this gym, I was very intimidated. And Mac, who's the owner of Future of Fitness, if you know Mac, he screams all the time. He's just like constantly yelling. And he's like, scream. And it was just this evolution of Emily coming out of her shell. And it turned into me managing that gym and really managing the trainers there. And I really became like the next level of Emily. And a lot of us in the fitness industry know this, right? Our fitness journeys probably helped us evolve so much. And that is when I started, lifting weights. I was a crazy vegan still, but I really had become someone that 20-year-old Emily would have been shocked that she was. And it's just so fun as a fitness coach to look back at your evolution of how fitness changed your life. And now that's happening as an entrepreneur, right? So, a lot of us as fitness coaches, we become entrepreneurs because it's like you love the freedom of being a personal trainer in the sense of like you create a semi schedule. People think personal trainers have the best schedules in the world. We literally have the worst. I hated my personal training schedule, but you have this like sense of freedom with your schedule. But I also was super poor at the time, so I had to work as many hours as possible. So, it kind of has this evolution. Like I could see how I was always coming up with challenges for the gym and trying to come up with ideas to get the clients involved and all of these things. And it kind of evolved into, I started to see my entrepreneurial spirit. When I was working at Future of Fitness, I had been working there for so long. And I had come to this point where it was getting mundane. It was getting boring. And I also realized I couldn't make as big of an impact on my clients as I wanted to because I was only seeing them 2 or 3 times per week. And I wanted to do more. Like I was like, this is not what I thought, right? This is not what I want. I want to make an impact. And towards the end, right before me and my ex-husband got divorced, that kind of threw a wrench in the plans. But right before me and my ex-husband got divorced, I had decided I'm going to start my own little thing on the side. And my amazing friends, Loria and Laurel, and then my friend Kara Joyce, they all helped me to create EmiFit, which is my Instagram name now. But it was like my own little business. I was writing workouts and selling them. I was having clients. It was my first time doing like virtual coaching. And was very different than how I do it now. So much more professional now, as a lot of you fitness coaches know. And started my website, like all the things, right? I was like, this is amazing. I hosted a live boot camp class because boot camp classes were my strength. My clients love my classes. And so it was like the start of this, like, okay, I can create this life that I want. And it's like these little tastes, right, along your process. And I remember, so during working at Future Fitness as a personal trainer, I had done some Savage races. I did 2 half marathons. I had like started dabbling into ways to challenge myself. Towards the end, when I left Future Fitness, I realized it was no longer for me. I needed to move on. It was also like in the middle of me and my ex-husband getting divorced. There was a lot of changes. So not to get the timelines blurred, but I left Future Fitness and then I was in school to be a registered dietitian. I decided to do my first bikini competition. And this was the first time. So it was different, right? If you've ever done a bikini competition, you know what I'm talking about. It's different than training for like a Savage race or a half marathon. It really pushed me and evolved me in a lot of ways. And I count that as like the precipice of like me turning a corner. Cause like that's when I also started my business. That's when I also started like making all these little changes to my life. And I say all this and tell you this long drawn out timeline story because as an entrepreneur, you can look at your fitness journey and it's the same thing as your entrepreneur journey. There's like these baby steps that you start taking. And then there's like a moment where you're just like the switch is flipping and you're changing in a whole new direction because you want more, right? That destined for more, that there is something else that I need to like tap into and dive into and explore and experience. And as an entrepreneur, you got to trust that feeling, just like you did on your fitness journey, where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do a bikini competition. You know what, I'm gonna train for my half marathon, because you're trying to level up, right? You know the levels of a fitness journey. You know the levels of overcoming and building confidence and getting to the next level. It's the same thing with your entrepreneur journey, right? You just got to be a little more mindful and take note of these things. And so when I did my bikini competition, looking back, I definitely know that was a very pivotal moment in my life, my business, my career, my relationship. It changed everything because once I hit that new level, I realized that I had been settling and that I wasn't giving myself enough credit. That bikini competition, no matter how there was some bad things that for the reasons I did it, it was great in that. There was definitely a great lesson in that because I saw myself differently because of the amount of work. I mean, it was 6 months of grinding my ass off. Okay. If you've ever done any kind of physique competition, it's a bitch. Okay. Every day, all day, for months on end, you are practicing discipline because it is what is necessary to win. Remember what I said, performance-based person. Okay. So I said, if I'm doing this, I better freaking win. I better win. So every day I literally told myself when I was training for that competition, it is not over until I win. I said that every day. It is not over until I win. I will do this and I will win. And my first show, I won. I got first place. So, but that being said, it's that piece there. That was pivotal. I had been settling so much. I loved working at Future Fitness and it was a season of my life that I needed desperately. I learned community. I made huge lifelong friends there. I met so many amazing people, but it was a season. And I think the bikini competition and all of these little steps along the way, the half marathons, were giving me the confidence to use my voice and to step into my power as Emily. Because little Emily back in high school, who was just trying to work out to be skinny, she didn't know what she needed. She was just grasping at straws. She didn't know who she was or what she was made of or what she could accomplish. But through my fitness journey and my entrepreneurial journey that is still going right now, she started to learn, oh shit, I am pretty awesome and I can do really hard things and I can come out on the other side. And I encourage you, like whatever your fitness journey was like, and now stepping into your entrepreneurial journey. A lot of us are, only in our first or second year of business. Or maybe you've been in business for a while and you haven't been challenging yourself. Well, you can really use this opportunity of your fitness journey to reflect and say like, okay, if I can do that, I can do this. It's the same thing, right? Look at the parallels, look at how they cross lines. Because when I look back at like how I got into fitness and how it changed me, I'm like, I don't know what I would do without it. Fitness was never my original goal. I originally wanted to be a linguist. Okay. So in school, I was like, I'm gonna be a linguist. I'm gonna travel the world. I'm gonna help and serve people. Like that's all I wanted to do was like go to other countries and help people. So I took Spanish, French, Chinese, Arabic, like I took all of those languages. I took linguistic classes in community college, and fitness came into my life. And I was like, I love this. This is unreal. And, it's just amazing the paths that we take and the choices that we make and where they lead us. I think it's always important to remember where you started and how you navigated those things. Because you did a lot, girl. You did a lot, not just me, you. I'm talking to you. Like you have done amazingly hard things. And that's why you're a leader. And that's why people come to you for advice. That's why you have clients because they trust you and they love you and they know your story and they want to have their own story. And it may not be perfect and it may not be like anybody else's, and that's okay, right? I mean, when I look back at mine, I sometimes think like, oh, it's kind of mediocre. I didn't do X, Y, and Z or whatever, but it's mine. And it is just like anything else in my life. It's a lot of bouncing around and figure things out and just keep pushing forward. But it definitely is powerful. And I appreciate my story a ton. And I want you to appreciate your story a ton. So, yeah. So that's a little bit more about me. I'm not a fit pro. I'm not an athlete. I'm just a girl that allowed workouts and nutrition to be the catalyst for her life to get me to my ultimate destiny, which is being an entrepreneur and talking to you and empowering women. I know that I was made for such a time as this, and I was meant to talk to women and empower them and encourage them and give them direction, because that's just something that comes naturally to me, but also something that gives me life. I see potential in every person I meet, and I want them to tap into it. And I wish that someone had seen that potential in myself. I had to find it for myself, which is making me emotional. But little Emmy had to believe in herself and push herself, because otherwise she would have kept settling, because I knew that I was destined for more, that there was more potential in me, and there's more potential in you too. So wherever you started or wherever you're at right now, it's not forever. Okay. It's the first stop on many stops of your life. And I believe that with hope and faith and a shit ton of courage, you can get a lot done. You can get a lot done. Okay. So feel free to share this with your sister friends, comment, please follow. Let me know if you have any feedback, anything you would love for me to talk about as well. This one is a little bit longer than some of the other ones. So I do try to keep them short and sweet and to the point, but this one's a little bit longer. So if you're still with me here, thank you so much. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon.